Okay, so good morning, everyone. I think I'm gonna sit here.
Elsa,
So, 15 minutes? Okay.
15 minutes.
Thanks. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Elsa Moreira. I'm here to present a project about citizen science. It's a project of my colleague, Elidio André Costa. It was his PhD thesis, but I was a part of it along with my colleagues. So, who am I? I am Elsa Moreira, as I told you. I'm a passionate astronomer. I'm from Porto, Portugal. I work in the Porto Planetarium, but I did all my academia way in the Faculty of Science of the University of Porto. I took my bachelor and my master's in astronomy, and I ended up in science communication. It's a passion. I really enjoy communicating science and telling the public about all the new discoveries and very exciting discoveries that we have every day. So this all started because there is one huge dilemma in science communication and science research, that this is the evolution of publications in Portugal throughout the years. And we actually realized that also worldwide, that's also the same trend. The publications, the science is increasing, the amount of research that is done every day, it's astonishing. But this is a problem because it doesn't reach schools. It doesn't reach fully the public. So what content of these publications actually reaches the public and can be shared as such? So when it reaches schools, specifically school students, it doesn't reach as a whole. Most of the times, only the results come, and that creates a huge problem because when only the results appear for the public and for the schools, this can lead to what we all hate: fake science, bad science, false news. And to fight this problem, there needed to be something done. But when we were exploring this problem, also other problems arose, because this problem is a reality for schools. And since my colleague is a teacher, he realized this pretty early on. But when he started working with us, he also realized that there are other big dilemmas in our community. The researchers are always looking for funding. There is also sometimes lack of human resources. And the same with science communication. There's lack of human resources, there's lack of funding, and also the range that we can reach and the engagement that we can create with the public and the schools. Also, when you're talking about the general public, there is an engagement problem. Sometimes they don't have access, or they have low knowledge on science in general and astronomy in particular, and also the costs it takes. So this project arrived. It's a citizen science project. It's a very particular and special project. It's not like these big ones of Zooniverse and all this stuff. It was a very local project, but it came out with some pretty awesome results. So it is a science citizen project, a citizen science project that aims at school teachers. It's not aimed at the general public. And our point is to use the teachers as a spread of information, as a way to engage and use the teacher's effect. But the first step was to create an unity and to understand how this could work. So we started with 5 astronomers, 5 researchers that work in our institute in Portugal. We had 4 science communicators from the planetarium. We had 9 primary school teachers that applied for our project, and 1 mediator, which is my colleague Elidio. He's a teacher, so he knows the teacher side, and he works with us, so he knows the science communication side. This few number of people reached more than 1,000 direct participants, and there's no way of estimating with the teacher's effect how many people it actually reached, because it's still ongoing until today. Everything was done without funding. It was all with self-human resources. So how was this done? It started with understanding the attitude of teachers towards science. Sometimes it's not very good. Sometimes they tend to shy from science and from astronomy itself, because the curriculum in Portugal doesn't include a lot of astronomy, and it keeps on being cut and cut and cut. So we had to change and try to change and understand their attitudes towards science. And this is a previous condition, as I'm explaining, for understanding and engaging towards astronomy and science in general. So we use this project as an investigation technique. It's also not only aimed for research, it's also aimed for science education and as a communication strategy. As I said, we aim to use the teacher effect and the school effect. Because if you reach one teacher, each teacher, at least in Portugal, usually they have several classes. Each class has 30 students, and each student has their own families. So this student's effect is also very big, following up the teacher's effect. So the first step of this project was that the astronomers had the main role. They aimed to integrate the teachers as partners, so they were part of the research, and they had to understand first some basic concepts on astronomy in general, and then they get to choose two projects. We had the STARS project and a Planet project. The STARS project was with GAIA data, with data release 2. We aimed to reach the compositions of 57,000 stars and to do brightness correction. And in the Planets project, they aim to do a small video of a transit and to understand how exoplanet detection works. In the second stage that we, as science communicators aimed more was for the teacher's role as the main communicators, as the ones that were already engaged and they could communicate science with their students. So they had the main role, and the astronomers, the researchers, and the science communications were in the secondary supporting role. This project had some special features. The roles are that this science project was made with astronomers, but for the lay public, but also with science communicators, which are not often included in citizen science. It was mediated by a very special person that had a position of privilege because he was inside an institute, he was inside a science center, and he also was a teacher. So he knew what were the needs of the teachers and how we could engage them properly. There was a lot of interaction. This was previously from COVID, so we had in-person meetings, and obviously virtually whenever they wanted to reach us and the researchers, they were always put at ease and they could always reach us at any time. And this was also an open project. We went along completing the project as we went. We went towards the needs, the education or communication or scientific needs of the teachers themselves, and we adapted along the way. So it was used as a science communication method as well as the research method. And it was very aimed at low astronomy awareness audiences because that's why we chose primary school teachers, because in the primary level in Portugal there is a lot of lack of knowledge in science in general, and we wanted to reach them more particularly so we can build up from there and maybe apply it to higher levels in the future. It was aimed for engagement, but also for awareness and understanding of the process itself, the scientific process itself, and the content, of course. And this allowed for what we call an open school, so that the science research and dissemination could reach the students, meeting the needs of the teachers and the students themselves. And this was all done, as I said, without self-funding and only with self-human resources. These are some pictures of activities that we ended up doing in the schools. We still do them until today. These are the actual talks by researchers. So we also integrated the researchers as science communicators themselves. Not only the team of the planetarium went to do activities, also the researchers that were involved went to do these projects. So with this gigantic project came several outputs. Obviously, scientific ones. There was a paper that was published on the planets project with the data that the teachers did. So with the help of the teachers, we produced science, but not only, we produced also education and dissemination outputs that I will talk in a bit. And we noticed an increase in the understanding of the astronomy key contents, not only the specific one they worked on. So not only the teachers that worked in planets understood only about planets, or the ones that worked in stars understood about stars. They got to have a broad range of the astronomy topics. This is again our researcher doing an experiment in a school, and you can see that the kids are very at ease with him, like they're in the floor, they're participating, they're interested. And in these activities, we realized that there was a change in the participants' attitudes. So this was very important in what we aimed to reach in the beginning. And they got to perceive and to understand better what science communicators do, what science education is, and also what research is. The results. There was several important results in this project and outcomes. In the teachers, we noticed this change of beliefs towards astronomy, and that they gained substantive knowledge on the topics. Also, we increased the scientific quality, the scientific dissemination quality on how the teachers were passing on the message to their students, but also in the astronomers and the science communicators. It was not a one-sided gain project. We learned how to structure our activities and how to better understand and engage with teachers and students. We also, I think it was very important that we worked together with the researchers, and we also incentivized them to do science communication, because science is very important to be communicated. It doesn't have to, it shouldn't be only for the researchers or stay in the science community. Also, it reinforced the perception of the importance of and purposes of science communication practices, mainly in the researchers. So they understood how important it is to communicate science. And also, it brought us new communication skills to everyone. Some final remarks. So that we saw that this kind of citizen science project in a very small scale is an unparalleled method for science communication. The school is a very suitable environment for this kind of projects, because it brings the students' effect, the school effect, the teachers' effect, and it becomes very engaging and very rewarding to work with this kind of groups. The schools that we aimed for were very low astronomy awareness areas, and we created long-lasting effects. So the teachers actually started teaching their students more about astronomy, or using astronomy to reach other sciences or other purposes by doing this project. So they're always trying to reach us until this day with questions, and how can I teach my students about this subject but using astronomy? So we are engaging the schools to produce more science content and more astronomy content in their classrooms. And of course, this is a project that can be applied to any science. It can be adapted to any condition. We can change the level of school teachers. We can change the researchers. We can change the scientific area. Of course, always adapting the methods that we use. And this is the first citizens project of its kind. So it was a small scale, but with high results. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my talk.
Thank you, Elsa. Very
I was
nice.
in time.
Yeah, yes, just in time.
Yeah.
Any questions? Nobody?
Yeah. Thank you.
Said that you didn't get funding for it, but did the government institutions provide any kind of help, maybe to reach more teachers based in the program.
Yeah, so this is still an ongoing project, meaning that the first version of this project still brings the teachers to us. We still have a connection with all the schools. Of course, this was a very small scale because of lack of funding, but it doesn't need a lot of funding for it to be reproduced. The problem with this project, it's very time consuming. That's the only thing. We didn't have any funding. We are trying to do a version 2 of this project, and we are trying to get some funding. We are applying. We have the prototype. We have the tests. So we're trying to apply for some funding in the future to be able to reproduce this project, but we are not yet successful. So 0 funding until now.
Yeah, but for example, the government institutions, they have a contact with high schools, reach more.
Yes, our problem was not the lack of teachers' interest. We chose 9, but we had more we had more interested. It's just that with the resources we had, so we only had 5 researchers that were interested in doing this project, and we are also 4 science communicators, so we cannot spread out that much. So we chose a smaller scale due to lack of time and lack of resources. Okay, so if we had some funding, probably we could do this in a bigger scale. But this was a PhD project, a thesis, so it was in a very small targeted area. Okay, thank you.
Elsa, but you has implemented in some schools, no?
Yes, this was done.
So how is the feedback from the parents of the children that has received this kind of education on astronomy from your teachers?
Yeah, as we all know, astronomy is a very powerful tool to reach children. They are very engaged toward the universe and everything. Like, we all love to look at the stars and to learn about the moon when we're very young. And these kids really became truly engaged, and they brought home the message. The parents were communicating to the teachers that their kids were talking about space and they were talking about astronomy in their houses. So they brought it up to their families.
So the association of the parents of the school can maybe add with fun to this kind of material for your go ahead with your project.
Yes, for sure. That's the problem, that there's no way that we can know how many people were reached with this project. We have the 1,000 number, around 1,000 number, that this is the actual number of children and teachers and direct people that we reached with the project. But then the effect that this 1,000 people brought to their own groups and to their own families and friends, we have no idea of it, estimating this power. Yeah, but the more we can do it and the more people we can reach in the initial stage, instead of 9 teachers, if we reached 15, 20, 30, this is an exponential increase in the number of participants reached.
Okay.
Congratulations for that project.
Thank you.
I was wondering if, beside the outputs that you already showed, published or plan to publish your general experience and the knowledge you have gained.
Yeah, this is published. This is a PhD defense, so it's a thesis. It's published in the Faculty of Science, and I'm not sure if it's online. My colleague can tell us better. I have no idea, but it's not going to produce a paper, if that's what you mean. No, it's a thesis. It's a gigantic one. It's I think 300 something pages.
And it's great to kind of export the project.
My colleague is saying yes, it's online. We also did like, this came with an evaluation of the project, of course. Like, we had to evaluate how well all these results were achieved, but it was a qualitative result. We did interviews. There are several interviews attached to the PhD, where we did forms for teachers, for the science communications, for the researchers, for the children. So everyone was kind of interviewed on a informal way to evaluate the results and the reach of this project. Yes?
Well, my question is about the teachers. Do you believe that they changed the point of view about the relation with astronomy before and after the project?
Yes, for sure, 100%. These teachers that were chosen, they had zero knowledge about astronomy. Really, the most basic knowledges, they didn't have them. And we engaged them towards astronomy, but not only astronomy, for the whole scientific process, how they can use science to teach. So the changes in attitudes and the perceivance of science was completely and radically changed.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations to Ilivio. He was the he's the main creator of this project, obviously. He'll send the link online, yeah, on the chat if anyone wants to check the project details.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Elsa. So